Hi everyone, this is Prabhat Kumar. I am your host today for the webinar Inaccuracy and Delays in Costing of Products and how to overcome those challenges. So before we start, we'll do some market trends which are happening. We have taken example of automakers here, but this is true for other industries as well. Now OEMs are facing challenges in terms of they need to maintain a lot of quality. A focus should be there on quality. They need to reduce development time, and they need to aggressively bring the cost down. And finally, these challenges are being passed on to their supplier. They also need to reduce cost, deliver faster, and improve quality. Today we are going to talk about the cost reduction at the OEM side and the supplier side. Similarly, other industries are following this trend. So before we start, we'll do a smart introspection that whether your company is still using a traditional methodology of using a spreadsheet or Microsoft Excels to do the cost calculation, how you are taking into consideration the product changes when you are doing cost estimation, whether you have a design to cost approach in place, okay, and your costing model, it takes care of part costing and tooling costing as well or not, whether you try different design options and how those design options are having cost impact, whether you are following the cost breakdown structure, and when you're using or doing negotiation with suppliers, how you are taking advantage of those cost breakdowns, whether you are doing a financial analysis before you decide upon a project or program, and whether your cost calculation methodology helps understanding different manufacturing processes and associated cost, and how you are able to improve your profitability. So how we can improve our win rate and profitability? Obviously, any organization will have RFQ process, design process, manufacturing process, and usage. And to keep a control on the cost and profitability, we should have an integrated and collaborative standard processes throughout the life cycle. And we should also have a knowledge management system in place. So today we will be discussing about RFQ process management. So this is how RFQ process happens inside an organization. RFQ is received, a stakeholder would be account manager, then it will be shared with the team in the design, wherein project manager and product planning and product engineering team would be doing the cost calculation. Then it will be handed over to production engineering. They would be doing the cost calculation for manufacturing processes. Then a cost functional team will be uh, studying the complete holistic cost of the product. Finally, finance team would be involved, wherein cost engineering will be doing detailed costing. They will be doing other profitability calculations, and finally it will be submitted to the project director or product director, and he will take the call whether we should go ahead with the project or not. So today, under the cost engineering, we will understand what all challenges are there and how we can address those challenges. So first of all, why cost engineering matters? So cost engineering involved, like we have supplier price breakdown, we have RFQ management process in place, we should have should costing estimation available to us, knowledge sharing should be available among different stakeholders, we should have a practice of design to cost inside the organization, and then we should be doing value engineering, and we should be able to calculate the ROI of the complete product throughout its life cycle. These things put together comes and finally becomes the total cost of ownership. So any organization should be worried about total cost of the ownership of the project or product they are going to launch. Then only they should make a decision of go or no go. So these are some of the challenges which are related to project, product, or tool costing. Generally, we have non-standard costing methods, so which leads to inconsistent data and cost models. Our estimates are not accurate, because we are using traditional tools and each individual is having their own version of tool, maybe a spreadsheet or some traditional methods. Because of this, our cost figures are not repeatable or comparable. And major challenges, we are not able to understand the drivers, cost drivers of the total cost of the products. So when we talk about product costing related challenges, these are the three challenges: cost discipline, collaboration, price reduction, and market demand product faster. So in case of cross discipline collaboration, as I told, each stakeholder will have their own version of cost calculation and estimation using Excel or some other tools, and there would be an out of sync. So this is nothing but an example of lack of knowledge management and collaboration. A lot of pressure is coming from the customer side and then to the OEM and to the supplier that we need to reduce cost. And if we have disconnected tools in our organization, it increases the risk even more. And now market demands the product faster. A lot of variants are being asked for, and all these scenarios and the high product complexity is finally leading to the requirement of uh, cost calculation should be faster and accurate. So in short, we can say challenges are we need to become efficient, faster, and more reliable in cost management. And there is a product for Siemens called Teamcenter Product Cost Management, which says we can manage product tooling and profitability calculation inside that enterprise solution. So any organization actually do a planning when they are going to start a new project or they are going to pick up a order from the customer, and then this product will go through different life cycle stages like development, engineering, ramp up, and production and product delivery. And then we decide that this is would be the total cost of the project or product, and that is called budgeted or planned cost. But generally, as the project starts, we have these challenges like cost estimation is done at very later stage. It should be part of design stage itself. And generally we have cost tracking system separately, like purchase products will be having the cost related information in ERP, and other component which are being manufactured in house will be having cost calculation inside Excel or something. So we have different isolated systems to track the total cost of the products. And because of all these in lack of collaboration and inaccuracy and traditional approaches, generally at the start of production, we are able to see a surprise cost explosion. And because of those cost explosion, we are not able to meet the desired planned cost or targeted cost. And when we see this situation, we start a firefighting where we are trying to do the cost cutting, and sometime because of that we are either compromising on the quality, or sometime we are able to not keep the product without defect, and sometimes those defects are passed on to the customer. So if we have some standard best practices in place inside the organization for cost estimation and cost control, definitely we can keep our cost within budget, or maybe we can even bring down the cost against the planned cost. So what are the strategic levers which we can use to bring down the cost or keep the cost under control? First lever is early involvement. That means the cost engineering team should be part of development cycle. Second is smart estimation. Rather than using traditional approaches and lack of collaborative tools, we should be using an integrated and smart estimation tools. And obviously collaboration and integration with other enterprise stakeholders and enterprise softwares. So why an early involvement matters? Because we understand the percent of the product cost is locked during the design phase itself, because material is fixed, the process required to manufacture those components already almost fixed. So it is really necessary we should have a cost engineering involvement at the earlier stage. And as we start the production, the reduction of opportunity in terms of cost reduction happens, because we cannot control or reduce the cost after this production has started. So we should have our cost control in place before start of production itself. So how we can do that? We can have a single enterprise level solution to manage cost estimations and different variant of cost analysis. We should be able to reuse all calculation which we have done for this project for some other scenario, or maybe some previous projects as well. And at the start of project, if we don't have 3D model available with us for the upcoming product, still we should be able to take advantage from our existing knowledge base, and we should be able to come up with a accurate cost estimation. And obviously all the stakeholders like purchasing, management, commercial, and tooling should be working in tandem. So when we talk about smart estimation, we understand if we do overestimate, then business is lost to the competition. If we do underestimation, then definitely we lose the profitability part. So how we can achieve a smart estimation? In that case, actually, we should have both the scenarios available with us. First scenario is called controlling, which is actually a top-down approach based on market analysis and competitive products. We understand what should be the cost of the product so that it can be accepted by the market. On the other side, we should have a bottom-up approach as well, wherein we calculate the cost of the parts, then sub-assemblies, then complete assembly. Okay, and then we come up with the total cost of the product. Now, if we have both the system in place, it works. These two systems work as a complementary systems to each other, and then we could have a effective product cost management practice inside our organization. Generally, if we talk about collaboration and integration, there are generally no standardized methods inside our organization, no comparable cost estimates available. Interfaces are not efficient enough to improve our productivity in terms of cost estimation, and we do lack the traceability and transparency of the cross drivers. And obviously, the tools are not systematic and collaborative enough. Because of this, we have high risk of cost overrun, and then obviously our ROI would be low or negative. So in case of an integrated product cost management, it will have all the stakeholders like controlling, management, cost engineering, procurement, and sales collaborating using a single tool, and there itself we would be doing all the cost estimation like pre and target costing, profitability calculation, design to cost, open book accounting, and purchase price analysis. We'll understand all this concept in coming slides. So this is how Teamcenter product cost management helps an organization. We'll have reference data and cost models as a library inside the system, and we'll have knowledge database which would be capturing all the cost estimation being done on various projects, which can be reused. Now we would be able to share all these reference data and cost models and those knowledge database among all the stakeholders which are part of cost estimation. It could be purchase team or cost engineering team or design team. And then we'll use all these practices and reference data to do the cost estimation using a standard business practice or procedure, and obviously then our cost will be accurate and transparent. So if we talk about Teamcenter product cost management, these are the different 4 areas where it helps. It helps in doing the product cost calculation. If product required some of the tooling, it will help us do the tool cost calculation. It will help do the knowledge management of all the cost calculation and cost processes which are part of cost estimation, and then we would be able to do the project costing, as well as we will understand the profitability of the product for complete life cycle. So in terms of product costing, we'll have our materials library, manufacturing process library, overheads library, or overheads options. We'll put together against our product assembly and then relevant tools, and we'll get the target costing or purchase price analysis or benchmark calculation for our product. So this is how it will have the reference data. Will have data, regional data like country wise or state wise or city wise. Similarly, we have data available for labor cost or floor and space cost, energy cost, and interest rate, which are applicable to that particular region. And we are getting all this information from reputed organization like Germany Trade and Invest Organization for labor cost, and Eurostat IEA for energy cost, and likewise. And these information we are getting from these organization on regular basis and updating inside the software. We'll have library of substances and material inside the system. We'll have a library of all the machines, around 3,600 machines globally. We have library of that. It will carry the cost of investment and the energy cost which will be required for running these machines. So this library will help us when we are doing the calculation, and it will understand how much depreciation could be considered and what would be the per hour running cost of the machine. Similarly, we'll have different machining operations like injection molding, machining, laser cutting, assembly, casting. All those library and manufacturing processes are available. And on top of that, we can build our own library of manufacturing process and manufacturing equipments. When we talk about manufacturing processes, the library will also have associated labor, production system, setup time and cost, tooling involved, and manufacturing overhead part of those manufacturing process library. So we have around 700 reference processes, which comes along with our relevant labor and production system and setup tooling and all. So if you have a product lifecycle management system inside your organization, an enterprise resource planning or ERP system inside your organization, then this product cost management tool can integrate with your enterprise level systems. It will get the product data from PLM or product lifecycle management and cost data from enterprise resource planning or ERP. And then it will do the product cost management tool, cost management, profitability calculation, and finally it will send back that information to these enterprise system. It will also be able to interact with system like business intelligence, wherein we can create different dashboards. So we'll see one example how the product cost calculation is done inside this software. So we have selected one project wherein we are deciding where we are going to manufacture this component. So we have library for everything. We understand we need to have different manufacturing processes, steps or activities. So we decide for that particular plant what all machining or manufacturing operations library is available. We just drag and drop, and it carries it with along all the information required like labor cost or setup cost, because it's coming from a standard library. Then for each operation, we can decide the cycle time manually. Also we can put in, or we have cycle time calculator which we can use to calculate the cycle time for that particular operation. Now based on the cycle time, it will calculate all the costs like the manufacturing cost and setup cost and labor requirement cost. Similarly, we will do this activity for all the manufacturing operations, and based on that, it will give us the total cost of the manufacturing, and we can always go and see the breakdown of the cost based on different manufacturing operations. Similarly, we have option of tool costing inside this tool. So this is how tool costing is done inside this tool. We are starting a new tool which is required for this project. We have selected the tool type, whether it is injection mold or die, sheet metal die. So here we have selected the injection molding example. So now it will take the geometry. We are taking geometry from our local drive, but this geometry can come from your PLM system as well. Now, based on this geometry, it will understand various features which are part of a tool design process, like it's able to understand different ribs and open areas and slider areas. And based on that, it will understand how many openings are there and where to put sliders. Here we have different templates available. Based on this, we can automate the process of creating a bill of material for the complete mold. See, now based on the template, it has created a bill of material of the complete mold, cavities and then runner and ejector system, all it has created based on the template. It has also created a cost breakdown structure for complete tool. This is how the cost is distributed among various manufacturing operations which are required to build the tool. So we understand now if we can do the product costing, we can do the tool costing. Here we have an option of doing the project costing as well, wherein we'll have project. Under that project, we'll have one or multiple products. Then we'll have complete investment requirement coming under that project costing. How many machines we need to buy, or how much GKN fixtures are required, or maybe tooling required. So it will understand the capital investment requirement. It will understand the complete project life cycle, and then it will help us decide whether this project is going to be profitable or not. The third and most important part is called profitability calculation, where it will forecast for us the cash flow, the working capital, profit and loss, and other KPIs. So if you talk about product cost management, it will take reference data from the reference data library. It will take other information from other enterprise systems like ERP, and based on that, it will help us giving the product level or assembly level cost. If any tooling is involved, it will help us getting the tool cost also considered. And as we know, we have material library, manufacturing machines, and process library, and overhead options. Based on that, it will tell us the product cost. It will also give us the project level cost. It will also let us know the capital investment requirements. And on the profitability side, it will tell us all the KPIs which a finance team is interested in. So this is called assembly cost calculation, and other is project profitability calculation. So this is the complete life cycle of the product, from concept till service, and finally the discontinuation of the journey. And someone may argue that we already have ERP system in place and which is helping us get the cost of the product. We totally agree with them that definitely ERP system help in getting the cost of the product. But enterprise resource planning, or ERP, actually gives us the actual costing, and which is actually possible to get after start of production. Wherein product cost management, like Teamcenter product cost management, these tools help us understand these 6 areas: profitability calculation, pre and target costing, design to cost, purchase price analysis, tool costing, open book accounting. These all areas are required before start of production. because here we are doing the planning of the cost and we are trying to keep the cost under control, because once the start of production happen, bringing down the cost of the product is much is not much feasible. So in terms of Teamcenter product cost management, these are the different areas. We can do the pre and target costing that is required by the program management, the profitability calculation, the finance team is interested in that. If we are negotiating the price with the supplier, we should understand the supplier cost analysis. On the tooling side, we should be doing tool costing, and if we are interacting with our customer or supplier, we should be doing open book accounting. So in terms of program and product cost analysis, we would be able to bring in the product data from our PLM or CAD tool and bill of material also. Then we would be adding different manufacturing processes, the required machines and fixtures and resources. And all this would be coming from the plant data, which is maintained as a library. And we'll get the results in terms of cost, and we would be able to compare also different scenarios when we are estimating the cost. On the product design analysis side, we can do the analysis that what would be the implication of modification inside the component or product from the design point of view, and how it's going to impact our cost. Because here if we are seeing, even though we have reduced the material of the cost, material of the product, and total gross weight has come down, but in second scenario cost is still going up because we have reduced the cost of the material, but we have increased the cost of manufacturing or cost of tooling involved. So this is how it will help us understand different design related change and implication of those changes onto the cost. When we are working with a supplier and we want to negotiate the price, here similarly we'll do bring the product data, add the material, add the processes and overheads, and we get the cost estimates, and those cost estimates can help us when we are negotiating with the vendor. So when we talk about purchase price analysis, there is an evolution which has happened. The first level is called basic price breakdown. Second is called non-harmonized should costing. Third one is knowledge-based cost engineering, and fourth is the extremely evolved situation of purchase price analysis. That's called integrated cost engineering. Let's understand what all these four levels are. So first level, which is called basic price breakdown, wherein we will be having only three levels. We will understand how much material is required, what would be the manufacturing process, and what would be the overhead and profit added by the supplier. So based on that, we would be negotiating with the vendor because we have this much information only. Second level is called non-harmonized should costing, wherein we break down these three levels, wherein we understand raw material, the purchase part which are involved in the assembly, then we also understand the manufacturing step, and then we understand overhead and profit, and accordingly we negotiate with the vendor. Because here we have little more information, we are able to negotiate really well, and we can bring down the price from the vendor side. But a third level is called knowledge based cost engineering, because now we have a detailed analysis of the cost and we do the best practice calculation. Based on that, we have the complete information about the costing of the component or product, and now if we negotiate, definitely we can have enough margins for potential savings. The fourth level is actually wherein we bring in, if any tooling is involved, we add the tooling cost also. Because what will happen, vendor may give you the breakdown of the product cost, but he can still hide the uh, tool costing information, and then he can take advantage of we not knowing the cost of the tool. So if we have a system in place which helps us in doing the product costing, and it also includes tool costing, definitely we will have little upper hand. So if we have complete information about product costing and tool costing, this time we can collaborate with our supplier and we can help them understand the cost breakdown, the cost drivers, and we can help them improve their manufacturing processes or selection of manufacturing processes, so that they also can bring down the cost for themselves, and those benefits can be carried forwarded to us. So one manager of a design costing and analysis company of agricultural machinery producer, he says, we tell supplier we are not looking for a cost reduction. Rather, we want to improve their processes and decrease their work so they can reduce the cost. It's critical to start the discussion this way. That means this organization is not forcing their supplier to reduce the cost. Rather, they are working with their supplier to bring down the cost using this Teamcenter Product Cost Management tool. So as we discussed, this is how the knowledge-based cost engineering would be helping. It will collect the reference data and cost model. Then we have knowledge database for existing cost calculations, and then you will do the cost analysis among your stakeholders. Then you'll use established cost calculation business processes to get the accurate and transparent cost of the product. So if we see this study, we are able to understand at the basic price breakdown level, we can reduce the, or we can negotiate the price with the vendor, and we have a potential saving of around 2 to 4%. But if we reach the level 4, integrated product cost management, using our Teamcenter product cost management tool, the chances are that we can save up to 16 to 20% when we are negotiating with the vendor. So if we have awareness about should costing, then definitely we would be negotiating with the vendor on the basis of should cost estimate, not based on the price given by the vendor. And here also we have enough potential that we can bring down the price which has been offered by the vendor. When it comes to open book accounting, every customer wants that all the vendors which are bidding for the RFQ should have a similar cost breakdown structure. So this Teamcenter product cost management tool will have an option of configuring the cost breakdown structure for different customers, and accordingly we can share our cost breakdown structure to the customer to whom we are bidding. And similarly, we can use this tool to get the cost breakdown structure against all the vendors who are bidding for our organization RFQs, and accordingly we can make the decision. And as we have seen, we can do the tool costing also, wherein we have different tool technology available. We can take advantage of this software's intelligence, which will understand the geometry and accordingly help us decide the tool cost. And we will have different templates available based on different locations, and accordingly it will help us get the cost of the manufacturing processes and manufacturing resources involved for that tool. And finally it will give us the cost breakdown detail, so that we can understand how the cost of the complete tool is consist of, and where we need to take measure to bring down the cost. The fourth and most important area is profitability calculation. So when we do the project costing, we'll understand the annual quantity, that how much time development engineering will take and how much cost will be involved, what all machine and tool investment would be required, and how the complete scenario will be help us know the contribution margin. On the dynamic model side, we can decide how the labor price will vary in coming years, how the cost of material will change, and maybe our net sales price will go down in later years. We can also allocate the tax. Then it will help us get the results, like what would be the EBIT, what would be the working capital, profit and loss, cash flows, and other KPIs. We have option of simulation, wherein we can understand, suppose we want this much of profitability, the goal seek, and accordingly it will do the back calculation and let us know what all parameters we need to maintain so that we can achieve that profitability. So this is one example. Here we are running a simulation to understand the profitability of this particular project. So here we are doing the quantity of orders and how the cost of sale material or labor or price will change in coming years, how it will have different overheads. Then it is also telling us what would be the working capital requirement for those years, how our profit and loss would be in coming years. It is also telling us the cash flow and discounted cash flow, and it's showing a dashboard along with the KPI like net present value or internal rate of return, amortization period. And now if we change something, like we are changing the quantity requirement yearly, accordingly our IIR or other impacted KPIs will update. Here we have option of goal seek also, wherein we are deciding our net sale price will be changing, then how it is going to impact other areas. So today we understood how Teamcenter Product Cost Management can help. It will create a synchronization between all the stakeholders of cost engineering. Even we can involve suppliers as well. We can reduce the time in searching for the information because we are using a knowledge management system. Okay, and we can share this information with all the stakeholders so that single source of cost estimation is available throughout the organization. Now, because we have access to information, we have single source of truth, obviously would be able to control our cost. And as I have given you example, the possibility or potential is there that we can improve our margin by up to 16%. And because now the accuracy of the cost estimation will improve, chances of failure mode will be reduced by 70%. So after this session, I would just say that don't work harder, rather be smarter using Teamcenter Product Cost Management. So I hope you liked the session and it was really useful for you. So now we will wish you an accurate and timely product and tool costing. And we also say you should be designing for an optimal cost and you would always be sourcing for optimal pricing. Thank you very much for your time. And if you feel you have any doubt or any questions or issues, you please feel free to reach out to us either on mail ID prabhat.kumar@prolim.com or the mail ID info@prolim.com. Thank you very much for your time.